Welcome to Let's Talk About the Music. The music is everywhere. I am Shels, your host. What makes this show unique is that our guests choose their own music topics, speaking from rich discussions filled with personal stories and insights. In some of those episodes, we share music industry thought through the eyes of those working within the independent music industry. And remember, Let's Talk About the Music is not just a podcast, it's a multimedia experience. You can actually enjoy as a blog or both audio as Audioboom, Spotify, and Podcaster, or a visual format on YouTube. Just search for official Let's Talk About the Music talk show. So grab your headphones or tune in visually and let's have a musical adventure together on Let's Talk About the Music.com. Hey everybody, it's Shels here from Let's Talk About the Music. Now on episode 8, we're on 8 now. Okay, can you imagine? We're 8. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking to Willie and the Whips is a local band here who sings the blues. Now, do you guys know the history of the blues? Well, let me tell you what they are. Now, the history of the blues originated in the American South after the Civil War. Its roots may trace back to African Americans' slave songs to spirituals and field hollers. Now, the blues emerged in the late 1860s in Mississippi Delta, Louisiana, and a few other regions. This way for the free African Americans to express themselves during the Restoration and Jim Crow. Now, the typical blues performed by a solo musician, either with a guitar, a harmonica, a piano, at parties, picnics, and other public places. Now, in the early references of the genre dates back to 1890s and early 1900s. In 1912, a Black band leader named W.C. Handy composed and written a song called Murphy Blues. We know that song. Now, can you guys name a few influences of the blues? How about Mr. Legendary B.B. King, also known as Blues Boy? That's his nickname. That's where he got BB from. Also, other influences that we have on file is also, my computer went weird. Edit that out. Also, we have legendary Steve Ray Vaughan, just to name a few. I'm pretty sure you can Google a whole bunch of people, but we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about Willie and the Whips singing the blues. So, now the Willie and the Whips consist of 4 members. We got Will, Kevin, Art, and Pacific Northwest legendary Ed from Inferi Ed of the Dehumanizers. So, who influenced Will and the Whips singing the blues? Why did they go in either genre? So, we're going to talk to these guys about the blues. All right? I'm going to do something a little bit different with this episode. So, after Papa Satch sings the theme song, we're going to hear a clip of Will and the Whips. You guys ready? Hit it, Papa Satch.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. All around.
So, welcome to episode 8. We are in a treat because we are going to talk about the blues with Willie and the Whips. Okay, so gentlemen, welcome to the show. We have Kevin Bean over there plays harmonica and lead singer, and Will, he is the band leader and sings a great deal. And so these are here to represent Willie and the Whips. and they play our local band here from Tacoma, Washington, and they play the blues. So we are going to go around the room here, or the podcast, or what do you want to call this thing. And they're going to have about 5 minutes to get a whole know each other or get to know who they are. And so we can know their voices, because everyone knows it's going to be on Spotify, Audio Boom, wherever you guys stream podcasts. And then 3 days later, you guys can see this beautiful faces that you see on the screen. You guys ready? All right. Kevin, since I've known you forever, you start first. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, well, I guess we're starting with just talking about me. So welcome to the Kevin Show. I started singing really when I was 5 years old, and it was with church activities. And then in the Catholic church, sang in the Catholic school choir. And I did that until I got expelled from Catholic school. Yes. And then around when I was 15 years old, I ran away from home, and I was couch surfing on all my friends' couches. And I got an ad for at the Metropolis, and that was a punk rock in Seattle down on 2nd Avenue, and they were a brand new band 3 weeks before. They're called DOA, and I had just an incredible time. It was a small club, like 250 people there. It was wonderful. Just the live music, it was electrifying. That was the first time I had been so close to musicians. So I went down to the Metropolis, and I asked them if they still had any positions open, and they gave it to me. They told me, yeah. And so I was working 4 to 5 nights a week as backdoor security or floor security, breaking up any fights. There were never any fights, just preventing people from coming and going or whatever, just keeping the place safe. And for that, I got to see music all the time, and it blew my mind. It was really a wonderful experience. I went on working at punk shows until around 1992. I was working at the Moore Theater with the Fallen Angels, which is a Seattle security group who board security at the shows. Anyway, there were people with firearms at the show, and that scared the hell out of me. At the time, I was making $5 an hour, acting as security, standing there and looking gruff, and, it wasn't worth it. The potential for me getting hurt was bad. So I got into security. But musically speaking, aside from being surrounded by music all the time, which was one of my goals, I got to play it. And I was inspired by being around punk rock musicians, but eventually I spun it off into the blues. I got very tired of the angry and victim position of the punk music, but there's so much dysfunction in punk, and it's meant that way. It's meant to get it out of your soul. But I kind of outgrew punk rock music, and I wanted to go somewhere else. And blues was the original protest music. It was, the blues came to us from the field haulers. I mean, blues is amazing. It's got so much depth. It is the root, the anchor of the American music tradition. I mean, country music boasted off of the European music tradition and the blues. The blues influenced jazz, rock and roll. I mean, the blues is just everywhere. It is the root, the foundation of our music, and it excites the hell out of me. So, did I say too much?
No, you did. You're but fine. You did. All right. So what do you?
I want to tell you, I played for a rock and roll cover band from the year 2003 to about 2015, and they really helped me with stage fright. I was afraid on stage. There was the first show that I played with them. They videotaped it, and they featured my name, Cave-In, which was my stage name, the chat handle at the time, and I wasn't visible in the video. I was hiding behind the speaker stacks. I was afraid. I was petrified. And it took me a long time to get over it. But finally, I saw footage of Axl Rose performing live on stage. And I can't stand Guns N' Roses. Axl Rose, he's such a narcissist piece of, yeah. But I saw him and his moving around, how he behaved. He acted like he was wearing his bathrobe and he was walking around his living room looking at stuff. He wasn't afraid. And it's like, that's what I've got to do. on stage, I have to act like I've been here before. I have to act like this is my living room and you guys are all my guests. I have to be that at home on stage. And boy, that changed it. That really did. It took me years to get there, but damn, that was my secret. I've read lots of secrets. Like one of my blues heroes, Sonny Boy Williamson, he said that what he'd do is he'd just picture everyone in the audience as a head of cabbage. He just audience of cabbage heads. That never worked for me. I guess I'm not that imaginative. But, just act like you're bored and sing your heart out and it'll work. And, well, it did work.
Good. Good to hear.
So I'm going to close up here. I just want to say I played with the rock and roll cover band. We broke up when our drummer died.
Oh, no.
And I was just, he was, this guy was named Jim Rogers. When Adventurers came to Seattle in the 80s, he used to sit in with him and play drums for him. I mean, the guy was a shark. But yeah, he died, and the rock and roll cover band split up. And it's really crazy because less than a month after that band totally broke up, I got a call from my old friend Ed Portnow. Now, Ed Portnow is the drummer for Willie and the Whips. Ed Portnow, he has his own storied musical history in Seattle and in the world as the drummer and band leader of the Dehumanizers. But anyway, Ed called me up like less than a month after Rockburger broke up, and he said, "Hey, Kevio, I'm putting together this blues band. We could use some harmonica. You want to come down, check it out?" And bam, wow, I guess the story's Will's now, because that was it. That took me into the band, and we've been playing the blues since.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a Gasworks. That was a Gasworks, right, Kevin? I remember.
Our first show was at Gasworks Park, where I sat in with your band. It wasn't, you're right. I'm mixing it up a little because it was like 6 or 7 months later when Ed actually invited me to join the band or try out for the band, I think.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Kevin. All right, Mr. Will, it is your turn. Tell all about you. I've got 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm roughly contemporary with Kevin, growing up in Puget Sound with the music happening. I guess the Beatles records in my sister's collection was first, and then I went to Tower Records. It was my birthday or something, and I was allowed to pick out an album. And there was they wanted me to pick the Beatles, and I picked the Rolling Stones. So I went over to the dark side at that moment. First live show was The Who. And I went to grade school with Mr. Ed Portnow. So in sixth or seventh grade, we'd be in his basement playing A Whole Lot of Love and other kind of rock and roll tunes. And because I started playing guitar probably when I was 10 or 11, I got a Sears guitar, one of those $60 Sears guitars you could get out of the catalog. And my dad thought it was a bad idea because it was electric,
Mm-hmm.
So, so from the Stones, it's not a long road to the blues. It's just stepping back a generation of influence. But it took me a while. I wonder, I don't think we shared drummers with Rockburger. Our drummer died earlier, but I was in a band called Big Plastic Jesus Head that played in Seattle in the early to mid 90s. And we had 2 of our drummers passed away. So it's like this is Spinal Tap kind of thing.
Right.
Between us, we're brutal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ed.
He'll be all right. I think we got rid of I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, play guitar and write some songs and cover Stone songs, and then I recorded a solo album because I wanted to, and I talked to Ed about that, and I'd kept up with Ed just barely. Like, he was famous because the Dehumanizers were famous because they had the hit song "Kill Lou Guzzo," which is famous in Seattle lore for they got sued so that stores and pulled it off the shelf or what happened, but
it was crazy. It's too bad Ed isn't here because he has a whole nother dimension to add to all this stuff. Boy.
yeah.
Well, I'll invite him onto the show another time.
but to complete the band, I feel I should introduce Art Behrman, who played in the Dehumanizers, and so our rhythm section has been playing together for decades combined, which is something to say about a band. But I don't even remember how I got together with Ed after I did my solo thing. I shared that with him, kind of started talking to him again. And then I probably said something like, I got a gig at Gasworks Park. Would you be interested in playing? I don't know if that was a particular show, but somehow we got into these peace concert shows that Don Glenn was putting on every summer in the Seattle Park system. And it's still going. Don has passed away, but that was fun. That's nearly 10 years ago. What did I skip over?
Will, you got to tell her about your blues epiphany. There was one thing, that sent you deep into the blues, and you have been affected since.
That's right.
You got to tell us.
Yeah. So I just went out to a show, and R.L. Burnside was there, and he had put out an album, Burnside on Burnside, that was recorded live in Portland that I liked, and he was kind of popular and touring regularly. And I went to that show, and RL came out of the green room as I was coming out of the bathroom. And if you know the show box, that's a crossroads of a sort. and he looked at me and smiled, and then just tore it up with his hypnotic great band. Cedric Burnside, who we've had the pleasure of opening for, was on drums, and Kenny, his white son, as is called, I went to Mississippi and took some guitar lessons from the North Mississippi Hill Country blues scene people, Gary Burnside, and all these great, cool, like microcosm, a blues thing that was a little different. It's hypnotic and simple in a way, but the vocals carry the melody. And so I got into this North Mississippi Hill Country blues stuff. Junior Kimbrough's another name in that.
What are some of the famous names that people might know out of that scene? Because I know that the Kimbroughs are huge, and R.L. Burnside is huge.
Yeah.
But like, who would push it over the top? Who?
North Mississippi All Stars have had.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the North. Yep.
Yep, they've had a lot of success, and they play with RL's son. They played. They're in the same area. Luther Dickinson's father was a record producer that recorded the Stones out of
Nice.
Memphis. So and he wrote a biography that I was fascinated to learn that there's a psychedelic 70s scene in Memphis. Just surprising. It was, I thought of Berkeley, not Memphis, but they were having their adventures in the 70s too, I guess. So,
Right.
So yeah, and it's a small scene. So I got to know, I'd talk to Luther, say hi, and it's just the festival I went to for a few years is pretty small, but engaging because it's small. Probably you get to know people.
In Mississippi, Will goes to Mississippi at least once a year and gets guitar lessons from these guys, hangs out with them. I mean, wow!
To tell the truth, the connection through Memphis is awful. So I haven't been going, Kevin, since well before COVID.
Right.
But Kenny came out here to teach at the there's a blues scene or week. It's called Acoustic Blues Week at Port Townsend, at the fort there in Port Townsend. And it's So usually there's somebody there kind of representing North Mississippi Hill Country music. So yeah, I seeing RL at that show really got me excited about that particular vein of blues, and I've mined it as well as I can, and I still mine it. And I'm super grateful the guys in my band like to play that kind of stuff too. It's not all we do by a long stretch, but it's a good leg on the stool.
Right.
We
All right. So
recorded a couple of those songs, like Mississippi Fred McDowell. They play it on KNKX pretty regularly. I would cover what was "Shake 'Em On Down."
Yeah, that was a.
And that's part of the same Mississippi Hill Country blues music. Tommy Hooker was part of that scene.
nice.
There's a lot of good soup coming out of that stew pot right there.
All right. So we talk about your guys' inspiration. So how did you guys come up with Willie and the Whips? I mean, how did this journey come together with all you guys combined? I mean, you have you two, you had Ed, we have Art. So how do you guys come together into this project?
I probably did a bad job. Let me step in for 1 sec, Will. Art and Ed knew each other.
Okay.
Starting in 1982, 83. I met Art in 1983. He took up bass guitar same time that I was taking up harmonica. And Art and I have been in a band together years ago, a punk band. We were called Ignorance Preferred. So I knew Ed and I knew Art. The only person I didn't know was Will. I didn't meet Will until 2014. And it's interesting. You didn't know Art, did you, Will?
No, not at all. I just knew Ed.
Just knew Ed. But it's interesting to me that this band has kind of been Ed and Will and Art and I were incubating in our own happy chambers for a while, for decades even. But you were saying, how did we come together?
Yeah. You knew Art, he knew Ed. So how did you guys meet to make up this band?
Yeah, that's totally Will. That's probably why he's the band leader. He strung us all together.
All right, Will.
Through Ed, Ed's been a drummer since, like I said, we played when we were in 6th grade together. So I knew he was a drummer. I knew he was good at it. And I asked him to play a gig, and he said, well, we're going to need some other people, perhaps. And first found Kevin, and pretty quickly thereafter found Art. We played with a good guy for a couple shows maybe, but pretty quickly Art stepped in and played gigs. Washington State Blues Society is a good way to get shows, and we were playing pretty soon. We did the peace concerts at Gasworks in the summer, and then the Blues Society shows, which tend to their nexus is Snohomish, kind of North Seattle society. So and as far as being a band leader, I have thoughts on that. Like maybe my dad was a famous whip maker. He made the whips for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and the successive movies. Many of the whips that were used in those. So that's, he had died probably, I don't know. That's where I got the idea Willie and the Whips out of the idea of my father. And also a band. Yeah. And a band is like a force multiplier, right? So you start a motion here, and then at the end there's a big boom, because there's like 4, sometimes 5 people in our band. We have a couple hotshot guitarists up our sleeve. And so that's the band name, and then gigs are what keep bands together, and so we played shows, and
But one of the cool things about this band is pretty immediately, I mean, Ed's a veteran. He's got decades of experience with this crap, and his brother Dave Portnow is, he owns a record label and he's got decades of experience with this. Ed knew right away, we're going to start working on an album immediately. And we were playing live, but yeah, we pretty quick had an album. And it was actually at the same studio that recorded Soundgarden's stuff. They've got gold records on the wall.
Stone Gossard's Studio Litho.
Yeah, Stone Gossard, Pearl Jam, right?
That's the studio, and the master engineer and mixer is our friend Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd Reitman, he's amazing. And we used him for both of our albums. We recorded our first album, Homage. That was 2016, weren't it?
That sounds right.
Yeah, and that had a couple of original songs on there. We were hoping that it would be a lot bigger than it was, because there's so much effort and time that goes into making an album. For the most part, in all of our playing together, we haven't taken money home from the gigs. We put it back in the bank so we can record another album.
There you go.
One of these days, we're going to strike on a hit so that we can retire. Probably not, but it'd be
right.
It was a cool thing that Ed knew that he wanted us to put out an album immediately. And so we were at work on that pretty quick, brushing out a set list and polishing those tunes up. And by the time we recorded it, we had almost 2 years experience playing those songs, and we got to actually play it, which means you're not thinking about it. You're not stressed. You get in there and you do your thing in a studio. And that's the way to do it. Not stressed, but just pour it out. And if you played it enough together, you can do that. You can just play it, You don't have to work at it. You don't have to struggle. It's just, it comes right out. And I think we did pretty well with that album.
Good.
We've got a second album coming. And I'm not sure when it's going to be released. Soon is what I know. It's called Wassippi. And
nice.
We've got some great players on here, and we've got some great original songs on here too.
Yeah, I got to listen. I like to listen to two of the songs. I listened to "Lord Have Mercy" and Coal Black Matter. So, Will, tell me more about "Lord Have Mercy."
Well, those two songs kind of go together. In the "Lord Have Mercy," it's also called Sinner's Prayer. It goes way back. It's just a prayer. But I knew Junior Kimbrough's version of it and loved that. And so I went to this festival, and the day before the festival, there was guitar lessons, and David Kimbrough Jr. taught me how he played that song. And so I, as Kevin says, we throw songs on the wall and some stick, and that stuck. And so we recorded it. So that's the Kimbrough influence. And then the Burnside influence is Coal Black Maddie, which we've recorded twice now. One, in the first record, it's very slow tempo, and this time it's hot, it's fast, and I like both versions. I don't think we dare try to play them both at the same night, but
I think we should. I just don't want to record a fifth version. Will is obsessed with that song. Poor Black Maddie, Coal Black Maddie. I think that's the Grateful Dead thing. Isn't that what really gets you? The connection with the Dead as well as with R.L. Burnside?
There's connections there because I was a Deadhead. I've been to 13 shows, which isn't, I don't really rank as even a fifth.
I've only been to 2, man. You're doing all right.
But anyway, I was just going to say there's Burnside and Kimbrough. So those two songs are Lord Have Mercy is the Kimbrough side, and Coal Black Maddie or Poor Black Maddie is another name for the same song, are the Burnside song. So those two we worked on and produced them with horns and backup vocals, and that's Ed having fun and stretching out in his.
Okay, guys, so my internet dropped for a second, so go ahead, listen to a clip from their Willie Whip's brand new CDs coming out on February 14th, and then she'll be right back. Enjoy a small clip. We're talking about Cold Black Matter.
We were talking about which were the 3 songs. There were 3 songs on our upcoming album that have a horn section on it. And one of them was The Witch, and one of them was Lord Have Mercy. Maybe I better look at the song titles. Maybe that'll remind me.
I think there's credits on the CD too.
Yeah, because you guys sent me the MP3s, and I'm just like, cool, I got the whole new album out. And it's like, so I'm really pleased because when Kevin had me, hey, can we come on this show? Just like, okay, and so I listened to you guys' Spotify. I'm like, holy crud. I didn't know this. I was like appalled and happy. And I listened to it while I was working last weekend. And I'm like, yeah. I like me some blues. I like blues. I like BB King. BB King is one of my favorites. He's a legendary. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. What I like about the blues is not just the meaning towards the blues, but it was the guitar and the harmonicas, the instrument that they played. And that what got me excited about listening to the blues when I got a chance to. And I like the fact that they brought in a little bit of rock and roll into it as well. So it has this nice, feel good rock and roll. It's just amazing. I just absolutely love it. And then when you're saying earlier, they brought in the horns and the jazz part of it. That's even amazing too, how they incorporate everything together.
No, I've got to hand it to Will. This band is pretty fortunate, and then we've got people who have skills in unique areas. Ed has got decades of experience working in the industry as well as a drummer. He's got a lot of good sensibilities. Will has a lot of technical skills as well as his songwriting and playing and singing skills. He immediately got our album on Spotify, on iTunes, everywhere. Having your album have a presence in all these channels really makes it more legitimate, makes it so that people can get to it. But if I can, I'd like to talk a little more about the record that's coming out.
Yeah, because I also want to know who helps write the songs.
Well, I would like to mention the 8th song on this album. It's called Old Number 7, and it's a train song. And if you look at the record album, you can see I kind of snuck a train onto the cover somehow. This train songs are a tradition in the blues. Harmonica players, if you're going to play harmonica, you got to have a train song. And I was 17 years old when I wrote this train song. And this is the first time that I've ever had a band that can play it. And it's the first time that I ever completely iterated it. I've still got the original scrap of paper that I wrote the lyrics down on when I was 17 years old. That was 40 years ago. And now it landed on an album. I mean, and we've got really some awesome players on this album. I mentioned the ladies from the Washington Blues Society who did our backup singing. I don't even recall all of the horn section guys, and they were amazing. But we also had one of Will's old buddies, Ari Joshua, playing lead guitar on this. He played on Cold Black Matter, and you can hear him just ripping it up with the Crybaby. It's just beautiful. And then we've got our other friend. He's my friend, Jose. He played with the band Sunflower Sutra, and I got to play with them back in 2003. They called me up on stage a few times. And that was really the beginning of me approaching stage fright. I started playing harmonica when I was 15. And I didn't really feel comfortable on stage until I was probably 37 years old.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, it did happen. But that was 15. The other songs on here. Well, Will wrote some of this. What's your favorite one that you wrote, Will?
Good as I've been to you.
It's my favorite too. That is just an incredible piece. I love that song.
That and so that song I had written about feeling bad that a woman wasn't returning my affection. And then somehow Ari told me a story. He runs a music school, and in his neighborhood, where the music school is, there was a lady who I believe her son, who was mentally ill, killed her. And I just felt that, and it kind of expanded my interpretation of that very simple lyric. It's basically just says, what am I supposed to do? Good as I've been to you. And that kind of transformed the song. It's actually a Mississippi Fred McDowell guitar lick on a steel guitar, so it's got a cool, more acoustic sound than a lot of our songs. And Ari is an amazing guitar player and a master of many genres. And he started noodling around like Fish or Jerry Garcia kind of. It's a Mixolydian mode, and I'm like, no, Ari, this song is about. I told him what it was about, and then he shifted gears and did a beautiful guitar solo that complements Art Behrman, our bass player's ascending. I think it's so beautiful, and I think it's beautiful because it follows one of these classical, beauty in music where one line goes up and the other goes down, and they just blend perfectly. So it's a short, sweet song.
Cool. Now, do you guys take turns writing the songs, or is it, or just you, Will, or does all you guys together writing the songs?
All the music comes together with everybody's participation. Like Kevin's writing his own lines. Usually, we'll present lyrics in a chord structure, and we wrote actually the last song on the album, "Come Get Your Blues," that my friend Jim said he liked, by the way. That was a sitting around on the couch, all of us together thing. Otherwise, it's been cover songs or Kevin bringing a song to the band or me bringing a song to the band. But "Come Get Your Blues" is more of an Ed kind of structure, and he's a master at rhythm. And that's a heavily rhythm driven song.
Okay.
We all kind of we each wrote a verse, and I guess, yeah.
All right. So what is your guys' favorite your creative process and your venues and ideals, how you collaborate? How do you guys, what's the idea that you guys like to brainstorm on these blues?
Kevin's a master of the blues catalog, and he'll come up with these great old songs that none of us have ever heard. And so High Heel Sneakers is a beautiful, beautiful record. And I just watched this documentary on Stax, and I believe Rufus Thomas, who wrote that song, was one of the very first recorder. His daughter too also they got hits for Stax, and it's a hilarious song. It's really funny. It's really great. So High Heel Sneakers, right? That's
right.
Yeah. So that's Kevin, and we listened to what he says, and wow, yeah, that's a cool record. And probably we've done a lot of covers in our day. So each bring a cover in, and
Like on our current album, The Witch. Do you remember the song, The Witch, Shells? Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to listen to our version?
No, I haven't got a chance to yet.
Okay. I
but
wish
I will get back to you guys on it.
No, I hear you. The Witch has a piece of history. That was actually written by the Tacoma band, the Sonics. This is our it's blow the ceiling out version. We've got an incredible horn section, and we've turned a kind of a fast street rock sound, into a slow blues dirge. And I mean, it almost sounds like a song out of Louisiana. I mean, it's
what song was it again?
What's that?
What song was it again?
The Witch.
Okay, it is not on Spotify at all.
No, it's not, because it's on our next album.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You said,
no, you're fine.
You said Spotify. Like, I'm going to go look for it.
No, not yet. The Witch will be on our album. We actually recorded this. We actually recorded this album around 2019, and we had big plans to roll it out. And then this COVID thing came along.
I know.
It killed everything. It set everything.
It killed everything. Yeah.
Clubs are still suffering right now, trying to get people to come out to see live music.
Yes.
That's why this show is a good resource, because musicians can talk to people and tell them, hey, why don't you guys come out and see a live show? It doesn't matter if us, just come on out and support the scene.
Right. So this is not the first time I've heard this. This is like the 8th episode I've been hearing about having a hard time getting people to come out to venues to listen to music, to live music. And every single one of them, except for the last one I recorded, they all talk about open mic nights. Do you guys go to those at all?
No.
We did once at the Old Triangle on.
Yeah, that's true. We played at the Old Triangle.
That was my haunt for a while. So we played a few songs, and we played Connor Byrne. That was our rollout for the first record, and I'm grateful they've kept together. And we opened for Cedric.
You guys are second person to talk about Conan O'Brien. The Gila Lilies are part of that crew, that pub.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That pub is pretty important, and it's pretty amazing that all of the staff got together and rescued it. That's something else.
It's good. Good.
Yeah.
Our friend Aaron Semmer is going to be playing there on Friday. Of course, that's not helpful here.
Yeah.
It was an amazing show, I'm sure.
That's good.
Can I mention somebody who has been very important to the music scene for all of the bands in the blues scene, especially in the North End? We've got this guy, David Allen LaRue, and I met him when I was 16 years old. He came over here from Iowa, and he was a camera buff. He always had a camera around his neck or with him. I got him into punk shows I was working when I was 15, 16 years old. He was taking pictures of punk bands. He took pictures of all the punk bands going through. He took pictures of all of the punks on Broadway in the University District. He took so many pictures, and then I lost track of him for 30 years. I didn't hear from him for so long, and then I was just amazed because Willie and the Whips was playing at an international blues competition show up in the North End. And there's this guy filming it, and man, that guy looks just like Dave LaRue. And my buddy Art says, yeah, that's Dave LaRue. And I said, that is not Dave LaRue. Dave LaRue would have come up and said, hey, Kev. And well, no, it was Dave LaRue. Dave LaRue goes to all of the North End shows and all of his French shows in the Seattle area, and he films them. He puts all of that music on YouTube. He films complete concerts and puts them up there. If you go to his page, you can see so much of the local blues scene represented. And it's all volunteer. He's just doing it to try to help the scene. And so I just wanted to give a big shout out. We love you, David A. LaRue. You're the man.
Good to hear. So tell me more about this competition you guys are in.
Oh, okay. Well, this is yours.
Yeah, I want to hear about the competition. What's this competition? tell me more about it, so maybe I'll go and check it out.
Sure. There's blues societies all over the country. There's one in Connecticut. There's 2 in Washington, at least. Probably. No, there's 3, I think.
There's a lot. The Inland Empire, the South Sound, the Washington Blues. There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So those 3 at least, and they all. It's like the playoffs or something. You play your local blues society, and then each one nominates a band and a solo or duo act, and they get well, we've played in competition, but we've also played supporting to raise money to send the winning band to Memphis, and I think it's in January that they have a couple weeks there to compete, and they just play the entire. I don't know how many end up there, but there's got to be 30 bands and 30 solo and duo acts, I think, at least.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they're getting people from all over the country. And then the people, it's held in Memphis. The finals are held in Memphis. It's called the International Blues Competition because I believe it is international. It's pretty remarkable. We have competed in a show a few times. It's an exciting thing. It's difficult to place in that. There's a lot of stiff competition. It's enjoyable, but it's hard to get up. We've never been sent to Memphis.
So when does this competition start, and how can people register? When does it start?
I will go to the Washington Blues Society website, and it's probably, I'd guess, summer, based on my memory of like where we played. So, and then, that we raised money in the Blues Invasion in Snohomish, which was October, I believe. So that they're chosen by then. And the different chapters have different schedules, but I'd say start figuring out in summer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I want to tell you that for musicians, the Washington Blues Society is amazing. They provide so much support. Organizers should consider creating a Washington Rock Society and a Washington Soul Society. I mean, what they do is the Washington Blues Society helps bands get to people. They hold gigs a couple of times a month. On Aurora Avenue in Seattle and up in Snohomish at Collector's Choice. They have a few other places where they hold gigs where the bands can break in and just, not have to go through the troubles of getting a gig. They set up shows. Oh, you're a new band? Come on, we got a show for you.
Oh, nice.
Shows. They send bands to the International Blues Competition in Memphis. And what the Washington Blues Society does that is different than all the other blues societies who are involved, they raise money so that the band can buy hotel rooms and can pay their way, so that musicians aren't handed, okay, you won, good luck, sucker. I mean, the Washington Blues take care of their people. But and they're a huge organization, not huge in numbers, but huge in what they do. They recently took over the Seattle Peace Concerts, which is a big concert series of free shows performed in the summertime, usually on Sundays. In Seattle. It's all volunteer effort, and it's been going on since 1980.
Wow.
And that's where
it's still going. I mean, I don't know if you can see this. You can't really. There's a wall of posters right here. And
wow.
It wasn't my design.
Okay, so those who are listening, he's showing us band posters of the festival, and those who are being watch this later, you're in treat.
But I just want to say, I can't say enough good stuff about the Washington Blues Society. They really look out for bands. And I wish it was Washington Rock Society because, people need the same kind of support. You can check out the Washington Blues Society for nothing. It's free. Go to wablues.org. They have a killer website, and they tell you where the bands are playing. I mean, they've got so many resources. Check them out if you love the blues.
You got it. All right. So Your favorite venues before COVID and after COVID. So which ones are your favorites? And the one that is after COVID, is it still available?
You know, I'm going to start, Will. I really liked playing. It's not really, I mean, my favorite show that I think we've ever played, that's probably got to be at the Seattle Center House.
Okay.
We had, 400 couples dancing, a dance competition, our music. That was so much fun. But for a venue, I guess I'm going to say the Lime in Kirkland. That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And we played there. It was some sort of Washington Blues Society event. Maybe it was a fundraiser.
I think so.
But the Lime was just a lot of fun to play at. And
I remember a nice big tall stage and probably
I love the huge stage. It was a wide stage. There was room for everybody to spread out. The ceilings were high. The place was everybody was facing the bar. It was really wonderful. You want a place that's really airy and people could get in and out easily without interrupting the band. It was very cool.
Very cool.
I don't know who I would pick for after because I have not played enough after COVID.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Will?
Favorite is probably Gasworks because they change where the band plays. Sometimes it's where the old machinery is, but we played on the little cement platform at the point, so I could noodle around on my guitar and look out over the water and see all these sailboats go by on a sunny day. And outdoor venues I like too because sound is a little better. Generally, you can have a good sound person in a good room, but you can have a bad sound person and a horrible room. And that made me think of the worst place we ever played. Was it? I don't know, Kevin, if you'll agree with me, but we went to Reed College a couple years to play their reunion party in the summertime in Portland, and it rained, so everybody got put into the gymnasium. And if you can imagine, a gymnasium has highly reflective wood surfaces. The basketball court is a and there's we were mixed in with the kids' daycare, so we had to play really softly.
That's the bad part. There were 60 kids on the floor, and their parents looking at the stage like, "What are these guys doing here?" They're playing the blues. And, Will even took a U-turn on some of his songs. Like, what was that? We got a song that we like to cover every once in a while when we think the people will handle it. Tonight, the bottle let me down. And Will was talking about milk bottles then. Tonight, the milk bottle let me down. Yeah, that was our worst gig, Will. So I guess we're pretty lucky.
We got paid.
We did get paid. Say Simone, our lead guitar player at the time, he hated it. He was, I do not want to play these shows anymore.
He's a very passionate Spaniard.
All right. So, what is your least favorite after COVID, or is it not the least? Have you played anything after COVID and it's still open?
No comment.
All right.
We have played after COVID.
Fair enough.
Played after COVID.
Did we?
We played at Gasworks, Will.
Yeah.
Will and I, it's hard to get the whole band together, but sometimes it's really easy for just Will and I to pick up our stuff and go somewhere and play. We've done that. Yeah. At Gasworks, that's a lot of fun.
We're hoping the new record gets the band together. So.
Right. All right, let's go back to the beginning of the interview real quickly, because Kevin mentioned he was in the punk rock and he found the blues, and that's where he's found, rhythm and himself and all that jazz. So, Will, when did you find the blues? I mean, what really triggered you in doing this genre?
I had the background in the Rolling Stones,
right?
And then, the kind of blues you would have heard on KSW in the 80s, George Thorogood. And then when I saw Earl Burnside, what he does is picks with his thumb, so he's a finger picking.
Okay.
And the rock thing. At one point I changed from a guitar pick to finger style, and boy, that was a confusing 3 or 5 years because I had to relearn all these songs that I knew with a pick. It's different. So I didn't know. I was caught in between for a long time, but now I'm most comfortable with finger picking, and that's a blues. That's more a blues thing, even though Jimmy Page can play the heck out of the blues.
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio, but they got it from the blues. That finger picking.
Yeah.
I really want to know that finger picking. Does that hurt when you do that?
Yeah, it does. I've bled, and Arl Burnside's hands were like, way more. He was a farmer for years in Mississippi. Yeah,
corn dogs.
Corn dogs. His fingers were fat from being cut open all the time. Things are mean spirited.
And you can use picks. And for a while I was going to the ladies at the Korean nail place to get extensions on my hand, but I gave all that up, and now I just kind of use my fingers, and it's easier on electric. Playing acoustic fingerstyle for an hour will shred my.
Yeah, I figured that much because I remember Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He used to pick, and he would use his fingers a lot, where they had to put glue in his sores to keep him going. And it's just like, oh my heavens, why?
Yep. No, if we were touring and playing a show every day or every other day, I would have to use finger picks. I wouldn't survive. But I can play a show once a week without a problem.
Cool.
I've never heard your origin story, man. What made you pick up the guitar?
Yeah.
It's
Thank you, Kevin.
I almost want to say no comment on this too, because I think I just wanted to be a rock star, which is ridiculous. But I was really into the Rolling Stones when I was in 6th grade or 5th grade is when I got a guitar out of the Sears catalog, and I'm like, holding the speaker up for "Gimme Shelter." It's just a powerful kind of intoxicant for a prepubescent boy or girl, probably. So then guitar playing, and I play with bands, and I enjoy the learning. I've not counting on being a rock star, but there's always something to learn, either a new song or a new trick, as YouTube spammers might call it. Something cool. And music theory, I enjoy that too. So want to be rock star, and then in my old age and wisdom, appreciate the learning experience and the camaraderie. It's fun being in a band, and you really do make something bigger that one person can't do, and that holds true for all the in the recording industry too. Like we all grew up through this time where you can do everything yourself. You have all the technology is inexpensive. You can play guitar, play drums, record it all using your phone or with a little more money, fancier gear. But face it, not everybody's Prince. Like there's just a very few people that can pull that off. So music is very much about community, and of course, audience is a big part of that too. It's so exciting to play for people and get them dancing. Kevin has been accused of being the Willie more than on more than one occasion, because
on stage.
He gets them excited. He's moving.
But and that is the thing. When you said that when you started out, it's because you wanted to be I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be rich and famous. Jeff wanted to be rich and famous. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you go along, you start to figure out, okay, these are real people. And then you start to figure out that this is a real community and it's a real rush to get on stage. And when 600 people are staring at you and you're giving them what they want to hear, you're moving them. You know, there's nothing more exciting than getting everyone on your page and taking them somewhere, telling that story, pouring your heart out. You know, the blues is some music you can really feel. I guess that's true of everything, but I mean, you know, listening to the Cher stuff, I'm not, well, I'll leave it to Cher fans, I guess, but I mean, the blues moves me down the street. Do you remember the very first blues song that just took your attention, Will?
It's got to be R.L. Burnside. It was probably when he was live, and it was like probably literally the moving of the body, like when they're, you know, locked in a groove. And I was,
it's total hypnotic. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? First song, you know what song got me?
What's up?
John Lee Hooker, Boom Boom. That just blew my mind. Oh, I could use so many cuss words describing the beauty of that one. Let me tell you. But you know, boom, boom, boom. It's amazing. The song still gives me goosebumps. And you know, John Lee Hooker, I didn't know at the time he was part of that North Mississippi Hills music scene. You know, and there's a lot of good stuff coming out of there. Still, it's amazing.
Nice. All righty. So what is your guys' biggest accomplishments being a musician and going in towards the blues? What is your biggest accomplishment?
I'd say making records that
making records and making friends, because we have made a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. My friend.
Go ahead, Will.
My friend Jim is like everybody listens to a lot of music, and he was quite impressed at the this record is a good record. It's got a lot of great performances, and it's recorded, mixed, and mastered professionally. And so that's that's an accomplishment. Took a lot of work. Played a lot of shows to afford to pay people to do their thing. And then the accomplishment wise, I'd say being in the community too is great. Meeting people, and we probably changed some of those kids' lives, Kevin. Those daycare kids that probably might have cried.
They probably can't put that bottle down. No, but what I'm looking forward to with excitement here, if we pull it all together, we can play the Blues Festival at Winthrop, Washington, and that is Washington State's biggest blues festival. And you know, the people who go through there are like Buddy Guy and just the big guys, and it would be wonderful to open up for a huge blues act.
That'd be nice.
And I think we can do that.
You go for it. All righty. All right. So we're going to wind this down a little bit. So I want to try to inspire young kids who might want to be, or young adults who are wanting to be musicians. So what is your tip on youngsters who might want to check out the blues and be a blues artist? So what is your advice on that? We'll start with Will first.
I'd say John Lee Hooker is a great start, and keep an ear out for songs that you like and identify which one of those are blues songs, because the blues has a pretty recognizable format, style, a formula even, and it makes it easy to play with other people. So if they could go to School Rock, that's a great organization. It costs money, but that's a great way for kids to get playing with other kids. I I had a great time during COVID teaching my neighbor. He's in high school, and his mom was like, he needs a hobby. So we started, and it was fun. When you're young, you can learn quickly if you apply yourself. And the phones are kind of working against you, like attention wise. It takes attention to learn how to play music. So I'd say careful of how much attention you're spending on learning, because you got to put enough into it that it's rewarding, that you feel after a half hour or 40-minute practice session that you got somewhere, and that tomorrow when you do it again, you'll keep progressing day by day. And that's what makes learning fun, So those are some ramblings on kids. John Lee Hooker, old time blues is oftentimes simpler. There's so much great stuff that was put out in the 50s that, like the 30s, for me, the songs are there, but the recording quality is often distracting to my ear. So I think of the High Heel Sneakers, look that up, by Rufus Thomas. Stax, that's getting into soul too, that studio. But yeah, go to the old stuff.
Cool. All right, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I'm going to labor you for a second with another story. Hope it doesn't take too long. When I was 15 years old, I saw my friend Kevin Church playing on a street corner. Now, I knew that he was a great singer and a guitar player, and he inspired me to really take my singing to the next level. He taught me to work the higher register, like what they do in doo-wop, the high stuff he taught me how to do. I saw him on a street corner playing harmonica to the Stormy Monday Blues, and it blew my mind. Gone. The song ended. I said, please give me the harmonica, please. Okay, Kevin, here you go. Please show me how to play it. He showed me my first lick. I did that like 3 years and nothing else. And people hated my harmonica. They couldn't stand it. So that's the segue. Kids, get yourself a harmonica. These cost around 40 to 50 bucks for a really good one. You can get a decent one for around 20 bucks. The harmonica is an easy instrument to master because you can stick it in your pocket and take it everywhere. Whenever you've got a dull moment, you break out your harmonica and you play it. Okay, that's the harmonica thing. Let's talk about singing. If you're a kid, if you're 10 years old, 9 years old, watch Sesame Street. I'm not kidding. And try to imitate those Muppets' voices. If you can sound like Oscar Grouch. Okay, that's lousy. I can do the cookie myself. Hey, cookies. If you can make those sounds with your voice, that is going to transfer into your singing. You can do more things with your voice if you learn to try to imitate the sounds that you hear. Okay, inspire yourself. There are musicians all over the place. If your mom and dad, or if your cousin is a musician or knows musicians, try to hang out with musicians. Just being around people playing music, it will teach you by osmosis. Subconsciously, you will learn a great deal and take away a lot. When I was 10 years old, I was around a guitar player songwriter. And at that time, I thought that I would never be able to play guitar. And that changed. But the important thing, I was exposed to it. So I'm almost done. I got one more point.
Okay.
Inspire yourself and watch YouTube. When I was a kid, I had to buy records. That was expensive. I didn't have money. Today, you can look at your phone or you can get on a computer, YouTube. You can learn so many things. You can see biographies of your favorite musicians and learn about new musicians. Music, so much of it is just getting excited. Once you're excited, you've got something to share, and then people are interested. It's about building that excitement. It's a lot of fun.
All right. One more thing, Kevin. One more thing. Before the show started, you were bragging about the posters behind you. So tell the audience who are going to be listening to the show, and then, of course, they're going to watch it later. Tell us about these posters.
I'm sorry if I was bragging, but I've got posters on my band room wall from 1983 and 1984 when I worked concert security on a volunteer basis at the Guerrilla Gardens at the Metropolis. And so Like there are some famous acts up here. I get to see their shows. Here, Landrew, this is Andy Wood's band. Now, Andy Wood, he went on to play with Mother Love Bone, and they were
Okay.
the godfathers of grunge. And this was a wonderful show at the Gorilla Gardens. And over here, I've got this poster for the Dead Kennedys at the Moore Theater, and Black Flag at the Mountaineers Center. Husker Du playing at the University of Washington Hub Ballroom. Soundgarden and Malfunction playing at the Tiny Scoundrels Lair on East Lake Avenue. That's across the street from the original Red Robin restaurant. Suicidal Tendencies. Yeah, I got to see a lot of punk shows. It was really total inspiration. Because, punk rockers on stage, they don't hold back. They express. It was amazing.
Cool. All right.
Thank you for asking that.
You're very welcome. All right. So I got one more thing that we're going to have you guys plug yourselves, the band and such. So there is one thing I am keeping from the original show is putting my guests on a hot seat where you two, you guys can ask me one question. Okay.
Ask you one question?
Ask me one question. And Kevin, you go first.
Okay, Shell. How long have you been working on this project? Your Let's Talk About the Music. How long has this been a dream of yours? And what made you start?
This was started back in 2015. It was going for 4 years. And then I placed it on hold to go back to college to learn how to do this professionally. And so altogether, I've been doing this close to 9 years.
Wow.
And why? Because musicians like you have a voice and you want to speak up and be heard. You got to be one part of the community. And so I fell in love with all of you guys. I mean, I was part of this group when I was in not even 21 yet. There was a club called the Java Jump that used to serve coffee, not alcohol, and they had a live show there with bands on Sundays.
Are you talking about on South Afton and Tacoma?
Yeah.
Okay, Bob's Java Job. I worked at.
No. That wasn't it. It was
a different place.
It was some place right by. It was in Fife, right past the Tacoma Bridge.
Okay,
it was right there. It's on the side, on the left hand side. So it's an old non-alcoholic bar called the Java Jump, and I was a DJ there for quite some time. And once a week, once a Sunday, they had live shows there, and I just want to know what is this. And so I just fell in love with everybody. I mean, we had bands from rock. I saw the last show from the Rider Humpers in there. I saw this one band. I can't think of what their band's name. They're probably not even together. Maybe they're two Halos or two solos, whatever. But they had two bass players. The volunteer, whatever. But they were playing there. They were from like Swedish or German or something like that. And they came over here on a tour to U.S. And they were just absolutely, and I was just amazed. I actually had fun. And so that's why I want to do this. And I've been working on this ever since I can possibly remember. At 2015, I started it. Went to college to learn how to do this professionally. And I got more things up my sleeve that I'm planning on doing that I am not pronouncing. I'm not going to show what it is, but I have more things I'm going to be doing.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. All right, Will.
Shels, what past the whips? What would your favorite band to interview be?
Yeah, don't consider us as part of this question. We already know.
Okay. Tell you the truth, it's not a band. It was the most amazing experience of my life. I got to interview Scott Kirkland of Crystal Method.
Right.
And he came to Seattle right before I put the show on hold. He came to Seattle, and I got my VIP pass, and I asked the people who are actually doing the thing, you think I can get an interview with Scott Kirkland? They're like, sure, we'll ask. So I got in there, I waited, and I was there by the front door, just BS, and all of a sudden here comes Scott Kirkland coming like, oh, got starstruck. And then sure enough, I got to interview him for about 30 minutes, I think, right after the show. And it was amazing. He kept spitting on me while I was talking, so I didn't wash my face for about a month. So, but it was awesome. It was the most amazing experience of my life, just interviewing someone so high level. And I want to do it again. It was a good high. So when you guys go on stage and you like that high, that was my high right there.
I hear you. It's community. It's making it's electrical. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So guys, plug yourself. Where can we find you guys?
Thewhips.com has our links, such as they are YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and we will be putting out a new record soon. What day should we put out the record?
Oh my goodness.
Remember there used to be like a record store day, like where they have new releases.
Oh, remember those? Yeah.
Was that Thursday or Tuesday or Friday?
I don't know. I think we need to put it out soon. That's for sure.
And let me Google that. When did record stores? When did record stores?
And while we're waiting for that, people, I want to tell you that Willie and the Whips, we do have our first album that's been out since 2016-ish, and that's on iTunes for Apple users, and it's on Spotify. It's all over the place. Willie's plugged us in everywhere. If you'd like to hear, we're still playing those songs, and it's some of our favorite stuff. We do have another album coming out. This album is called Wassippi, and we're, it's very soon. That's all I can tell you. So,
okay, the research I found. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. What now?
Oh no, go ahead. What do you got for a date there?
Actually, it's kind of like all over the place. The record store releases a album. Okay, here we go. Record store releases an album. The store day was the first held on April 19th, 2008.
Wow.
During COVID, they did October 29th, September 26th, October 24th. A fourth date was on Black Friday. Also, November 27th, which is coming up. In 2021, didn't really have a day. 2022, didn't really have a date. So there you go.
November 27th this year is it a Friday? I'm thinking, since Black Friday, I'm thinking.
Let me look at my calendar.
It's Wednesday.
Dang it.
Wednesday the 27th.
Right. Well, we gotta.
Oh, if it was a Friday, you'd be for it?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. American capitalism. Well, hey, it'll be on sale. It'll be the same price. We're just going to raise the price the day before so we can say it's on sale.
There you go. All right. So what I do on every single podcast that I do, I write a blog about you guys, about the topic that we had, and the little history on the blues that I found. So all of your social media will be on my blog once it's finished. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Please say nice things about us, please.
I will think about it, Kevin. I will think about it, Kevin. Yeah, I'll say great things for you guys.
Well, hey, thank you very much for having us. This is really fun.
You're very welcome. You guys are welcome anytime you want to. And Kevin, guys, don't go anywhere. I have a show idea I want to do with you, Kevin.
Okay.
All right. I have an idea. You just gave me an idea. So don't go anywhere, guys. And I'll talk and I'm going to stop recording. And so you guys have a great night. I hope you enjoyed the show, and see you later. Let's talk about the music, because the music is everywhere. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Remember, the show is more than just a podcast. It's a multimedia experience. You can enjoy the content as a blog, a both audio and visual format, or stay tuned to connect with other conversation. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that subscribe button. As that way you'll never miss an episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our newsletter for our latest update and exclusive content. Until next time, grab your headphones or tune in visually and let's keep that music journey together. Let's talk music because the music is everywhere.